Welcome everyone to Coffee with the Kingpins. And today we have another edition with some exciting information. I'm very excited to invite Miss Marcia Bender, and we will have her explain what she does. But once again, if you do enjoy the content that we share, please hit that subscribe button. That goes a long way. Like and make a comment. And if you have any suggestions of what you like to hear, who you would like me to interview, please share that with us. And this is Firuze Vedic Compatibility. We are on YouTube and also Rumble. Welcome, Marcia Bender. How are you today?
I'm great, sweetheart. How are you?
Excellent, excellent. So, Marcia, you are a very interesting individual, and you have a long list of gifts and talents behind you. So, what I would like to ask you today is, can you share with our viewers a little bit about your background, where you were born?
A long, long time ago in a galaxy far away. Yes, I am formerly from Youngstown, Ohio. I have been in Sarasota for 41 years and in full metaphysical practice for those 41 years. Prior to that, in a past life, I was a school teacher.
Mhm.
Excuse me, taught everything from directing preschools to inner city high school in the turbulent 70s. Um, Metaphysically, and we'll talk about that in a minute, I was destined to do what I'm doing. I loved teaching school and I loved being with the kids. And we had blackboards in those days, and I loved the smell of chalk dust and erasers and everything else. But I was directed to go into full-time metaphysical practice for a reason. Numerologically, and numerology is a combination of astrology and something called acrophenology. It comes from your name of birth at birth and the month, day, and year of birth. I am missing the spiritual number. And in all of my past lifetimes, I avoided spirituality and I avoided turning within to get answers. And according to the laws of numerology, if you're missing something, you have to learn it, or you have to keep doing it over and over and over and over again. So I've always been very, very spiritually connected. I taught Sunday school as well as everything else I talked about. Um, my beginnings with spirituality. Can I say something first about metaphysics? And this may be redundant for your viewers, but it wasn't for mine when I did my TV show for 15 years down here. Metaphysics is simply anything beyond the physical reality. It's a Latin word, meta, beyond. Physics is your five senses, say, teach, taste, touch, hear, smell, and whatever the other one is. And so, as humans, we focus on those things in a physical body that we can use our five senses for. To understand metaphysics, you have to go beyond the five senses. It's kind of a feeling, a knowing. Everyone's born psychic. People either develop or they don't. But basically, it's just, I just started teaching instead of teaching kids, I started teaching adults. And back in the olden days, before we had Zoom, I wrote for several newspapers. I did a local show down here in Sarasota called Metaphysics with Marcia, weekly for years. And although I'm still in full-time practice, you kind of pulled me out of retirement with this video. You said, why don't you do Zoom? And I said, well, I'm not, at 83 years old, I am not going to start to learn how to do that. So you set it up, and here I am. And if your viewers like it, we can talk about so many things. And I told you I just ramble. So I'm going to stop and let you talk.
So, when did you learn numerology? Let's start there.
Well, now we're into another long story.
Okay.
The first thing I was always, back when I was young, if you went to a bookstore, you could find a couple books on astrology. That was about it. And nothing else. So I started to get involved with, again, Western astrology and found it fascinating. And then I realized there was something called numerology, which combined astrology, which is the month, day, and year of birth, and acrophonology, which is kind of a lost art, which is the name at birth. And I do help parents name babies now. Another interesting topic for another day. And so I started to, but I'm still teaching school now, mind you. I'm not doing any of this professionally.
But
And then
numerology also takes into account your day, month, and year.
it's a combination
Yes.
of astrology and acrophonology. And acrophonology is the name on the birth certificate.
Mm,
Let's do that another time because you asked me a good question and I want to try to get to it.
okay.
Something made me buy a deck of tarot cards. And after struggling and getting kind of frustrated, I did what I was told to do instructionally, and there was no YouTube then or anything else. I
Right.
wrapped them in silk and put them in a pine box and put them in my underwear drawer and left them there for 5 years
Mm,
till I was directed to take them out again. The problem with tarot, which is the most powerful tool of communication, is that it's very, very difficult and very, very hard to understand. And a lot of people play at it, but they don't have a clue.
mhm,
And so, all right, so now I get them out again and I start getting guided, not from the little booklets or the books, but how to use them. And so now I'm really intrigued with the tarot. It becomes my big thing. And I'm still not doing it professionally. We're back in the 70s, and I'm still not doing it professionally, but I'm doing it with friends and we had a little group of people that were into metaphysics. And then I started realizing that I was supposed to do it professionally, but I wasn't ready to give up the classroom. We're back to that again. So it was a struggle within me. But I got so connected with the higher forces through the tarot that I just finally, I say, let go and let God. I just said, okay, whatever you want. And then they started channeling me a way to make it easier. And then they said, okay, now you quit teaching school and you teach other people to do what you're doing.
mhm,
I said, come on, you guys. And I talked to my guides just like I'm talking to you. I said, you want me to give up my income and teach other people how to do what I'm doing? And they said, yeah, that's what you're supposed to do. So I developed a system of teaching my students in 9 sessions what it took me 15 years to learn.
mm,
And
okay.
it's a particular method which only I teach. The pictures you see behind me on the wall are some of my students.
I was just going to
But,
ask you.
well, I don't pick my students. The guides pick my students. So I can't teach anybody that they don't tell me I can teach. And you've already been told that should you choose to study, you can.
Yes.
And so over the years, that's what happened. I'm reading for some people and I'm teaching other people. And then I get into the whole realm of explaining crystals and what is metaphysics and numerology and astrology. So now I just say I'm a metaphysical teacher.
Mhm,
And that's basically it. But my baby is tarot
right.
and will always be tarot,
Mhm,
as you know, because you've sat across from me.
yes.
So
Yes.
there you have it. But
So,
anytime you want to talk about numerology and naming babies, that's a fascinating subject about which souls get reincarnated to which people.
right.
And all of that, you and I have major karma from past lifetimes, but that's another show. If
Yeah.
they like it and they tell you they want to see more of Marcia, I'm just sitting here. You can just say, yeah, Marcia, let's do this, and we'll do it.
Okay. Okay. So mainly, since I've been a client of yours, when
And my friend, and you introduced me to Turkish food, which absolutely we really should have planned that for after this, but go ahead.
so you basically when a client comes to see you, you ask them their date of birth. So you
That's all I asked
also,
them.
yeah,
That's all I asked them.
you
And
give them,
that's for numerology.
yes, and you give them, the year and the
Do you
year.
want me to talk about that a little bit?
Sure, why not?
Well, all of us, we're going to numerology now. And this is what I do before a tarot reading.
Right.
All I ask is the month and day, not the year, because I'm doing numerology, not astrology.
Right.
And every person, every human, and the world, and every country goes through 9 year cycles in their lives.
Right.
9 years, then another 9 years, then another 9 years, and on and on and on it goes. And in those, each one of those 9 years, there are four things that humans are concerned with. Every human, every person that walks in my door, one or all of them: money, money, career, and finance, buying, selling, anything that has to do with money in, money out, love, love, marriage, family, children, health, mental and physical. Usually they're focused on the physical, but they have no clue how much the mental health affects the physical.
Right.
And then the spiritual level of
Mm.
the four levels of human existence. And that's kind of, they just like to hear strong spiritual forces surround you, unless they're student potential. And then they're interested in going farther. But each one of those 9 years has a major focus. One of the years is endings. One of the years is new beginnings. One of the years is, oh boy, this is a lucky number. One of the years is hard work and effort. One of the years is big changes. Be prepared for changes. That doesn't mean those four things are not always there, but
Mhm.
there's a focus. One year is a focus on money and career. So I only want to, well, all I want to find out is what cycle my client is in, what personal year cycle they're in, and if they're in the middle of it or just starting it or overlapping a past cycle or whatever. But the thing that I do, and my clients all know this, that I don't know of anybody else doing, that's the only thing I discuss with a new client or even someone who hasn't been in for a while. If you've been in recently, I know what year you're in, what cycle you're in. But I do two major readings. People say, "Can I ask you a question?" And I say, "Not before I already answer all your questions, before you ask them."
Mm.
So that's what I do. And you know this. Um, the guides and I, just because they're talking and I'm speaking, will tell you pretty much exactly what's going on in your life right now. So that when you finally ask your questions, which you get a chance about halfway through the reading, there's no timer in my office. So it's done when it's done.
Right.
And so basically, um, I've already answered broadly the issue about the relationship or the issue about the career change or what have you.
That's with
But
your tarot cards.
it's always, we're talking a tarot session. I mean, you asked me about the
Yeah.
personal year, which I introduce a tarot session.
Right.
And then it's more repetition. And I do some predictions, put some timing on it. But I already know with the client that walks in off the street, and nobody walks in off the street because there's no sign in front of my house. Be careful of that. And it's mostly referral with me at this point in my life. They
Right.
know they're coming to see me or call me. I
Right.
have clients all over the United States and Europe now that have been with me for years and they've moved, or somebody gives my name to somebody in South America
Right.
and we do it. I don't have to have you sitting here with me. But the fact is that once I know what personal year cycle you're in and I do my opening channel, then I know what you're going to ask me. But then I want to focus only on the relationship, only on the health situation, only on the money situation. And then when we're all done, many, many moons afterwards, after we start, then I wrap it up again with a review. So yeah, I dot all the I's and cross all the T's. And I've had people that have been to me. My people stay with me, but I've had people that I call them lapsed Marcia clients. And maybe they'll come back in a couple of years.
Hmm.
And I'll say, "Well, Mary, it's been a couple of years. Your life must be just fine." And Mary will look at me and say, "No, I've been going to other readers." And
Hmm.
I said, "That's fine." Mary says, "No, it's not. They tell me what I want to hear, and you tell me what's going to happen, and I don't always want to hear what you have to say." So
Right.
there is legitimate readers, and there are readers that don't have a clue. I
Right.
teach people to read. A lot of my students are reading professionally
Right.
all over the country.
Mm.
Guess who they still come to once a month?
Yeah.
Me, because they want me to look at their cards. So, but they're great readers as far as not being run of the mill. people that read.
So
So
let's go back to the numerology part. So the world right now is in a nine cycle, which is an ending.
you just choked me on that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. You had to say that, right? I'm going to be upbeat and I don't want to predict any kind of gloom and doom. But
Mhm.
yes, the world is in a nine. And the nine is a very difficult cycle. It's an ending of 9 years and also a need to make major changes.
Right.
And if we aren't prepared to make them, then fate steps in and makes them for us.
Right.
I when I realized where the world was going into a nine, I just shook my head and said, if you're old as me, there was an old Betty Davis movie. I think fasten your seatbelts. It's going to be a bumpy ride,
Mhm.
and it is. And it's nothing is surprising me what's happening now because of the dynamic. And it's not just our country; it's everywhere
Right.
because it's the whole world. And so it's big. And at toward the end of this year, moving into the beginning of next year, it goes into a one.
Right. It time
Now,
starts in
ah,
September, right?
that's still major change with new beginnings. But here's the problem with people or the world or our country, any garbage that you carry over that you haven't changed or gotten rid of in the ending cycle, you bring right back into the brand new cycle. So if I have a client who's in a toxic relationship and she's in a nine or he's in a nine, and I say, it's time to take the garbage to the curb. And I'm seeing in the cards, the karma's done. But then I can find out by the next card whether they're going to let it be done.
Hmm.
So they have this opportunity in a 9 year, big opportunity in a seven too, but that's another story, to get rid of the garbage, but and have the brand new beginning. But if they don't take the garbage to the curb, then it's still there for the new 9 year cycle. So far, if you just want to look at one thing now, and I don't want to get political, if you just want to look at climate, global warming and climate change and the floods and the fires and all the devastation, it's either going to be carried over. And no, I haven't read on this. I read on everything, but I don't want to read on this. If it hasn't been changed, if there hasn't been a great big change, we stay in it and it just escalates.
Right.
So I wish you hadn't asked me that, but you did. So.
That's okay because I mean there we have one to nine, and one is a new beginning, and then as we go on, another one.
No, and now remember what I just said.
Right.
All four of those things are in every year,
Right.
but in each one of the years of focus. So in the nine, it's endings. In the one, it's new beginnings. In
Right.
a two, it's partnerships and associations. In a three, it's joy and happiness. That doesn't mean that you're not going to have that in a nine. And
Right.
it doesn't mean you're not going to have in a four, it's money, career, and finance. It doesn't mean you're not going to have that in a one, two, three, five, six, seven. It means there's a major focus on one of those aspects.
Right.
I'm look. I see you sit there so prim, and I'm going like this with the hands. I'm not Italian, but a lot of people used to accuse me of being Italian because I talk with my hands. Okay.
So so the number that you were talking about that you're missing is the number seven, which
That's
is
correct.
yeah,
Seven is the number of the psychic.
right.
And in a seven personal year, the focus is on increased psychic ability and awareness. So, I mean, a lot of people that come to me for the first time when they're in a seven, or come to a lecture for the first time when they're in a seven. Yeah, but I have a big zero there. So, in all of my past lifetimes, I avoided it.
Hmm.
Well, guess what? This time I'm doing it in spades. So, I'm not going to, I mean, you know what my biggest fear is? And this is terrible. And no, I haven't asked the guides because I ask the guides everything. When I come back again, and that's another subject, reincarnation and how I can prove it is another subject, and karma and all of that.
Right.
I'm terrified that the next time I come back, and I shouldn't be because I know better, I know I'm going to have the seven, probably a major seven too. There's major and minor things in numerology. But I'm terrified that I'll have to start all over again and that I won't remember anything that I know now. And I know that's not going to happen. So
Hopefully it'll be different.
I'm
Hopefully.
human,
Yes.
and that's what I try to tell my clients. I don't care how smart you are or how intellectual you are, you're in a body, you're human,
Hmm.
and you are going to have the same fears and anxieties that everybody else has. The only difference when you're able to communicate with higher forces and find yourself, basically, is you might still be afraid the hurricane's going to hit, but the guides have already told you that your house is not going to flood and your windows are not going to break. That doesn't mean when the wind is whipping around your house and tree branches are hitting your windows, you're not afraid.
Right.
I mean, I sat through one last year. I didn't go anywhere. My house is not hurricane proof, but they said, you're going to be fine, Marcia.
Yeah.
But it was still scary.
Yes.
And
Yes.
then all my clients are texting me because there's no phone now, no power. Are we going to be okay? Are we going to be okay? And I look, yes, you're going to be fine. Maybe your neighbor won't be fine, but you're going to be fine. When I read for you, my accuracy is 99.9%. You can go to the bank with what I tell you,
Right.
even though it seems impossible. When the wind is whipping around and the branches are flying, and the guides have said, "Hey, you're going to be fine. Go take a nap."
Yeah.
So, so thank God. I always tell my clients and my students, thank God you have me and I have them because you may still be scared, but you know you're going to be okay. So that's it. Unfortunately, if I also tell you that this relationship is not going to work out, the guides don't make mistakes.
Right.
That doesn't mean you have to not do it. It just means that we call, like I said, the client that said, they tell me what I want to hear, and you tell me what's going to happen, and I don't always want to hear it.
Right. Right.
So
Right. So, I don't know. Shall I ask this question? What is your
you go
life path
ahead.
number?
My what?
Life path number,
I'm a 22-4, and 22 is the highest you can be in a physical body.
master
I,
number.
yeah, but I'm still a 4. And the 4 is everything has to be perfect. And if you say, let's go to the beach today, I'd say, yeah, but it might rain at 4 o'clock. It's the person who has to be everything. It's a perfectionist. And it can be very difficult if it's not balanced by my heart number, which is a 3, which is let's go play.
Right.
And let me play my guitar and let's sing and dance and have fun.
Let's go to that one because you also were
That's my heart
involved in
number.
a band.
I'm in
You're a
love with
singer.
love, and I always have been. So,
You're a singer as well. When did you
oh
start
yeah.
with your group?
I had a partner. I never had a group. I was in college in my freshman year at Kent State in 1960,
Mm-hmm.
and I heard Joan Baez sing for the first time.
Hmm.
And I said to my father, I would like a guitar, please. And he said, well, let's go get one at the pawn shop because in 1 year it will be hanging on the wall.
Right.
And he said, I bet you $5 that in 1 year it will be hanging on the wall. Well, I taught myself, and Joan Baez helped me, and Peter, Paul, and Mary, and Bob Dylan, and all the rest. And it wasn't hanging on the wall. And I used it all through my teaching, and I used to play in clubs and bowling alleys, and it's just a great joy of mine. Music is a wonderful thing.
It is. Well, music is very high vibration. So, yeah, I love music too.
But that's my creative side.
Right. So, what I wanted to ask, yeah, what I wanted to ask you was, you've basically been reading tarot for close to
But
50 years.
yeah, again, not counting the 3-4 years that I stuck them in a drawer because I wasn't going to focus on them.
Right. So, what's the evolution that you've seen in your clients? Would you say you're seeing, or your clients that come to you are more spiritual,
Not
or what's
necessarily.
the evolution?
If they end up on my wall as students, they're obviously seeking more than just, is the house going to sell in the next 6 months? Because the only reason the guides answer our questions, which are very important to us in physical body, but they're trivial in the greater scheme of things, such as infinity, is to bring us to higher levels of spiritual growth and development. Um, the really interesting thing is my clients, students, not clients, well, clients too, range from very religious in all religions to thinking they're atheists.
Okay.
I've never met an atheist. I've met agnostics before because once they've dealt with the tarot, they aren't going to be atheists. I can guarantee you that. But I can't tell you what uh, we use the term God because we're humans and it's a term like these are glasses and this is a cell phone. And God is what we
Thanks.
pray to.
Mhm.
But I use the word guides because I don't, I was raised in Judaism, but I embrace all religions. And I believe that God, you could say Jehovah, which is in Judaism. You can say Allah, you can say Muhammad, you can say Jesus. These, all the great prophets, that I believe that's one and the same incarnation, lifetime after lifetime after lifetime. So I'm not going to say, well, if you don't believe the way I do, there are many paths to enlightenment, and everyone has to find the path that works for them.
Right,
But you asked me if my clients are more spiritual. No, they don't always listen. They don't always listen. I know I can give advice and I can say, I can see right here you're not going to listen, but you should.
right.
So
So
not that,
my question was more in the 45 years or 50 years that you've been reading, and obviously coming across many, many different people, have you seen a change, an evolution as far as
oh yes.
yeah.
Back in 1970, when I was still teaching and doing this, even in 84, when I moved here and I was working for the school board, I was lecturing at Barnes and Noble, and I had people call the school board and say, there's somebody talking about tarot and she's employed by you.
Mhm.
I mean, yeah, people didn't even know what the word metaphysics was. They used the word occult,
Right,
and the occult is the same thing, but metaphysics is more intellectual. That's why business card says intellectual metaphysics.
right.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's much more acceptance to spirituality now. But most people didn't even know they all knew what astrology was, but they'd never, that tarot is the devil's workshop.
Mhm.
And tarot has always been, and the reason I think it was my main thing, it's kind of the bastard child of metaphysics
Mhm.
because of the gypsies, who are very good readers, by the way, but they also know how to manipulate and say you're cursed and this and that and the other thing.
Yeah.
So basically, my job, I really believe, was to legitimatize tarot for people that were intelligent, obviously. See, and you asked me about my clients. Nobody comes to me that isn't supposed to come. So I don't get the people that are going to say, oh, this is the devil's workshop, or oh, you know, I'll believe you, I'm cursed, that kind of
I
stuff.
don't I didn't mean it in that way, but I mean my own sense, I feel that the frequency is rising and the vibration on earth is rising and there are more people waking up. So my
Yes, you're right.
as far as the evolution of the kind of people, yeah, of course, they have to have some interests, and that's the reason that they come to see you. And obviously, lots of time people come because they have a question, that they,
Mostly it's because they want to know if their marriage is over or if their house is going to sell, not the people on my wall,
right,
my regular clients. I have people that won't make a move without me, business people
yeah,
checking addresses of, we looked at the one you're in, at addresses.
yeah,
So yeah, but the thing that bothers me, the thing that I'm most concerned about is yes, there is much more enlightenment now
Right.
than there was when I first started shuffling tarot cards back in the 70s.
Right.
But there's also so much misinformation and so much fringe groups that think that anything that isn't their way is bad.
What do you?
Is what do I mean? Well, I mean if I'm, I don't want to use the term. Um, I can use the term Bible thumpers.
I see.
Uh, that works, but I can also say people that might be any religion, but they say, well, if you believe in Allah, then you're evil.
Yeah.
And then the people that believe in Allah can say, well, you don't believe in Allah, so you're evil.
Well, those are extremists, really. I mean,
It's more and more,
yeah.
more and more the in the world, we have more and more extremists. And that's where a lot of prejudice comes in and where a lot of profiling comes in and so forth. It's very sad,
Yeah.
but I trust higher forces know what they're doing and that it
I think
will
there's a war between good and evil. So
always,
that happens,
always.
you kind of see the extreme of both.
I'm an avid reader. I'm
Yeah.
talking fiction,
Hmm.
many books a week. And if anybody wants to understand what's happening now and talk about a psychic book,
Right.
Stephen King, and everyone knows his name,
And
wrote a
he lives
book,
here.
wrote a book in the late 70s
Right.
called The Stand.
Right.
It's also been made into film.
Right.
And he predicted every single thing that's happening right now, from a pandemic
Mhm.
to the battle between good and evil, to the few people left on earth going toward good and some going toward evil. He was on The View not too long ago, and they said, "Are you a psychic?" Everyone's accusing him of being a psychic because in 76 or 77 he wrote The Stand. He said, "I just wrote a book," but it was channeled.
Yeah.
So yeah, there are many, many people that don't even know they're predicting things that are predicting things.
Yeah. And Stephen King lives in Sarasota.
I know. And my son sold his wife a desk, I think, when he was, yeah, when he was doing one of the things he was doing.
Right. Right. Right.
Yeah.
So,
One of my students, actually, student now, not just
right.
client, was in AA with Stephen King down
Oh,
here.
really?
So yeah, kind of became friends because they were both in AA. Yeah.
You spilled the.
It's okay because you
He's,
know, he was a great writer before AA, and he's a great writer after many, many, many years of AA. So
yeah. I actually didn't know until a couple of years ago when I listened to, who was it? Anyway, not important, but an interview with him, that his wife is also a novelist.
yeah, yes.
But yeah, I was saying,
Never really got the following that he had, but yeah.
yeah, yeah.
His son as well. He's
Oh,
written a
really?
couple books with his son as well.
Interesting.
I
Interesting.
read my first Stephen King book, which was, well, Carrie was the first one, but I read the first one, which was Salem's Lot, back around 1971, 72, and got hooked. So nothing comes by, no Stephen King book comes by that I don't read. So
So tell us a little bit because the way you read tarot cards are a little different from, you
it's
know,
totally different.
most
It's
people that
it's
do.
totally different. It's the method that the guides gave me,
Right,
and it only will work if I teach it.
right,
And my students all have my book, but my book will never be published
right,
because it's not supposed to be in the hands of people that aren't supposed to be able to use it.
right.
So, yes, it's very different. I have to explain that to some people that are used to run-of-the-mill readers, unless they've encountered one of my students, which means they know the method that I read. So I teach
So,
my students everything I know.
right. So in other words, someone can't just come to you and say, "Hey, Marcia, can you teach me how to read
No,
tarot?"
I say I'll look at the cards and let you know. But sometimes,
Right.
like the first time you came in,
Yes.
I cut to a card and I said, by the way, there are about 5 cards in the deck that tell me I can teach you. And if you ever want to study, let me know.
Right.
I have turned people down. And the weirdest thing over the years, people that I really wanted to teach, I had one fella come in who was already a practitioner, working with Reiki and channeling and such. And he wanted to study, and I really liked him. And I got a no. And I told him, I said, I, I can't. I said, but we'll keep checking.
Hmm.
And about a year and a half later, the guide said, yes, now you can do it. It was just the stuff he was going through at that particular point
Right,
that wasn't the right time.
right.
So
So,
one time I defied the guides. Early on, I don't do it anymore.
right.
I took someone who they said no.
Mhm.
And she needed it. She had great abilities. And the guide said no, and I said yes, and she never completed the course. I've never had, and she caused a lot of disruption. I never defied them again.
Right.
But I've never had anyone not complete my course. But the one that they told me no,
Yeah. So how can you simply explain how your reading is different?
I can't, but my clients can. And
Okay.
if you've ever been read by anybody else, you know how different it is. My accuracy. Now, I try to insist if you're here in the office on recording,
Right.
um, everything I tell you is going to happen just exactly the way I tell you it's going to happen.
Mhm.
And not everybody can say that. Had a former student who was a client at the time. Oh, we're going back 35 years now. And she had a reader that she went to, and I think it was in St. Louis.
Hmm.
And she went to this reader, and she went every year. And so after she started to study, I said, Sandy, have you ever thought about the questions you've asked him? Because he allowed like 3 questions or something. They're all on a timer. And I said, and checked to see if he was accurate. And she said, no. She said, but she was a flight attendant.
Right.
I said, the next time you go to see him, ask 3 direct questions that have to be answered directly and record it. And she did. And she asked, like, will my house sell this year? And she asked very direct, and he was wrong on all of them.
Mm.
Well, I'm not going to be wrong. And that's very egotistical. I should say the guides aren't going to be wrong. And I've been doing it so long that I know how to read them.
Right. 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 So how can people get in touch with you
Well, uh,
live? And around?
they can text me. Usually it's referral. They won't reach me if they're not supposed to. They can friend me on Facebook, but they're going to have to give me some indication that they're not calling the little old lady in Sarasota because they want to have a romance. I get those all the time. They can contact you. They can text me my information. You have all my information. I'm doing this because I haven't done it in a while and it's really fun.
Can you
But
share your and the a number that they can text you?
sure, they can text me at 941
Mhm.
914 5131.
Excellent.
And all they have to do is say, I saw you on the podcast and I would like some information, and I will get in touch with them.
Right. 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 So I
That
know.
means text. Text, not call, because call will come up as spam and I won't pick it up.
Right. They can text
Okay.
you at that number.
But they have to say, I saw you on the podcast.
Right.
Will you please get in touch with me? And I will call them.
Okay.
And then I'll give them the phone number or how to reach me.
Right.
That's a text number.
Right. So any golden nuggets that you can share?
All right, what kind of golden nugget do you want? It is what it is.
I'll, I'll leave
Uh,
it up to you.
there are many paths to enlightenment, and every person has to follow the path which is most relevant to them. I
Mm.
can be every bit as much at home in a synagogue or a mosque or a Catholic church or a Presbyterian church or down on the beach.
Right.
God, higher forces, the energy's everywhere. And I love to go into houses of worship. I always feel a very strong energy, no matter what church and or temple and or mosque it is, because the energy, the high spiritual energy is very strong. Like when you walk in my office, I've had people walk into my office and stagger. I have so much crystal around and so much there's so much energy here from the work that I do, and they're real susceptible to it.
Wow.
And even just working workmen will
Right.
walk in, they end up being clients because they've already staggered through the front door. And and even little kids, it's just very, very strong energy. When you do very, very strong spiritual work, like when they go to see you
Mhm.
at your office,
Right.
and they're there for a treatment,
Yes.
but they're surrounded by your energy, which is what makes you different from the other people
Yes.
that are treating.
Hmm.
I mean, I can say that about you. You should be able to say it about me. I don't like sounding really egotistical. Do I think I'm the best at what I do? I do. I've
Yeah.
been doing it a long time. I'm old, and my track record speaks for itself.
Right. Right. Right.
People that come to me on a regular basis, not just students,
Right.
know that if I tell them something, it's going to be like I tell them. I
Right.
have business people that have no desire to study,
Right.
but they'll let me do it.
Right.
They'll let me do the work.
Right.
So I now have
So
people
I
bringing their kids to me, which is great because I miss the classroom.
that was the question that I was about to ask you because um you told me that you were teaching a couple of young, very young kids about spirituality and so on and so forth. That's really
Yeah,
interesting.
well, they come from my students
Yeah.
that finally get to a point where they say, "Well, my kid's ready to see Marcia." I do it. I'm the consummate teacher. I can take everything down to the level of whatever child I'm working with.
Right.
And I love it. I'm really having fun with that. But these are children that I named,
Right.
helped the parents name when they were in utero. So
Wow.
now they're 8 years old and 10 years old, and they're coming to see Marcia.
That's
So
talk about history.
yeah, but nuggets. I mean, there's so many nuggets. But I really think that,
Pick one from your hat.
well, my favorite is on my business card. Knowledge is the greatest power, so walk in the light.
Yeah.
And the light, of course, is the light of spirituality, or the God symbol of the tarot is the hermit.
Right.
And it's the hermit's light, the white light. It's behind me on the wall somewhere. If you can see it, there it is up there, that blue square that you're
Right.
looking at. But we're human, we have to
That
have symbols.
representation of Virgo also in tarot?
Pardon me?
The Hermit, is that representation of the sign Virgo?
You know, I'm not 100% on that. I know mine, I'm a Cancer, it's a chariot, and the moon is
Right.
my ruling planet, so the moon, but I am not 100% sure because that doesn't play into reading tarot,
Right.
but it's a symbol. I try to tell people, people need their symbols. You come into my office, there's Buddha's picture in here and Jesus' picture in here and the hermit on the wall and on the side of the room. It's a symbol.
Mhm.
It's a symbol of higher spirituality. So
Right.
my whole house is filled, besides with crystals, with Buddhas and hermit pictures, and it doesn't matter. The
Right.
whole point I try to make to people is I don't care what path you follow,
Right.
as long as you follow something.
Right.
That's really, really important.
Right. Right.
And the fact of the matter is, you don't have to have any religious feelings at all to come to me,
Right.
because I'm not going to play religion. This is not a religion. Spirituality is a way of life.
Yes.
And as I said before, people don't have to believe in God. And I've had students that say, I'm an atheist. And I'm saying, well, you're not. You're an agnostic. An agnostic says, prove it to me. An atheist is, I just don't believe. They
Right.
aren't going to come to me.
Right.
And I tell you, I guarantee you that no one I've taught can possibly look at using the tarot as a tool, like if you're digging a hole to plant a rose bush outside,
Right.
and have the accuracy that you have with the tarot. and not believe there's something. Don't use the word God if you don't want to. Use the word higher spirit.
Right.
God's just a term, it's just a word.
Yeah. And it has also been misused, unfortunately. So,
Well, we're back to that now. It's very, my son took his grandson to a rock concert Saturday
mhm,
to a group, heavy metal. My son played heavy metal guitar, but there's a group out now from Sweden, I think, that does heavy metal stuff like they did in the 70s and the 80s.
mhm,
And he took his grandson, and he said there were protesters outside marching with signs. This is devil's work and this and that and the other thing. What's really sad
mhm.
to take a wonderful experience, and you don't have to go. You don't have to come to me. You don't have to watch the show on television. You don't have to go to the concert, but don't tell me what I can do.
Right.
That's part of the message of the tarot.
Right.
Take your own path.
Right.
But I should be able to defend my path the same as you can defend yours.
Right.
So, that's the problem now. If you don't think like I do, or look like I do, or have the same accent that I have, then you're bad.
Right.
And
Right.
that's what's happening right now. It's very, very scary. But I trust higher forces will pull us through this. At least
So,
they're going to protect us.
yes. Um, I wanted to ask you because you do it so differently, because I mean, you see a lot of tarot card readers now that are creating their own cards, and then there's some,
That's okay. That's okay.
yeah, that, so they use two or three different cards while they're doing the tarot reading.
Well,
And
I
some are
use,
messages and so on. Yeah. But
well, you've seen me. I use a full deck,
right.
but I have about 100 decks, and they all have different kind of pictures on them.
Right. But they're tarot cards. But what I'm saying is other people use different kind of things. Like
Yeah,
they have
doesn't matter.
different things.
Doesn't matter. I have no desire because I love the tarot. It's beautiful in all of its forms.
Right.
I have the cat tarot deck and all the pictures, all the cards are cats.
Right.
And I have the women's deck and all the cards are women. That's really shouldn't be because we have the balance between yin and yang. And I have many, 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 many decks of tarot cards. I only teach the Rider-Waite, which is the traditional.
Right.
And but I try to tell my students this. The guides want to help us. Higher forces want to help us. And the tarot, they're beautiful pieces of cardboard. They're pretty pieces of cardboard with pretty pictures painted on them. When I tell the guides, this card means this to me, then
Hmm.
they're going to take it out of the 78 cards and give it to me.
Right.
So we have safe travel cards, we have good health cards. So if I wanted to make my own little method, and I took little stickies, okay? And let's say I drew an airplane on one of the stickies,
Right.
one of the little pieces of paper,
Right.
and I threw it in a hat, and then I had a heart to show love. This is very basic. And then I put them all in a bag, and I said to the guides, I'm going to fly tomorrow. Will I have a safe trip? And I shake up the bag. I'm going to pull out the one with the airplane.
Hmm.
That's it. That's the way it works. The guides will do anything, they will communicate with you in any way that you have to be consistent. And the tarot is very, very powerful, but you have to understand how to use it. It's not a toy and it's not a game.
Right.
And in the wrong hands, it's very dangerous.
Right. Right. So my question, the reason that I referred to that was, can you, in your readings, or do you, in your readings, can you see, like, for example, if people are connected from a past life, or
Oh
do
yeah,
you
sure.
see soulmate
There are special
or
cards that show that.
twin
Sure.
flames?
Yep,
Now we have twin flames and soulmates and
exactly.
past life. Yeah.
But what I will guarantee you, and I don't care how much you dig into past lives, you can see a lot of it in numerology as well. I guarantee you that anyone that you have had a significant connection with in this lifetime, and it maybe a good significant, maybe it was not so good. you've been with in one or more past lifetimes. But that's a whole other show. Let's leave that for another show.
Well, I'm
Because
gonna come to
I
and
would like to
here as
do
well.
that.
Yeah. But the thing is that do you feel that everyone connects with a past life person or
Yeah,
some people
but
more than others?
nope, everybody. Well, it depends on the depth in this lifetime of your connection. Is
Right,
it a parent? Is it a mate?
right,
Is it your best friend from childhood?
right.
For example, I know that our souls have been together in past lifetimes, not every lifetime,
Yes,
but I don't know what you were to me in a past lifetime. You
right,
could have been my mother. You
right,
could have been my sister. You
right.
could have been my husband.
Yeah,
It doesn't matter. What matters is fulfilling the karma, the two souls fulfilling the karma in this lifetime.
right,
So it doesn't, past life is not necessary. It is what it is. We've all got past life and past karma. We need to focus on getting it right this time.
right. Well, I was referring more to like if you identify soulmates and twin flames, people.
Oh, I
I mean,
can use,
a lot of people come for a reading a lot of times, if they have a question about their love situation, right?
right. Yeah, I always see the karma, but I don't know what they were to each other in past lives. And I can use any term you want to use.
Right,
Twin flames is lovely, but when I tell you that you've had a karmic connection with someone in a past life and now they're in this lifetime to try to get it right, I don't care what I call it. And then
right,
I tell people don't over romanticize this
right.
because there's nobody in this lifetime that you've significantly been connected with for any period of time that you haven't been with in a past lifetime.
Hmm.
Because we reincarnate to learn the lessons, the two souls that we missed in past lifetimes.
Right, right, right,
Everybody wants to romanticize it, and it is lovely when you ask me about this guy and I say, "Oh, you've been together in past lifetimes." That's the Six of Cups for anybody listening that reads tarot.
right,
That sounds so romantic, and it is. But then I get that for parents with their children.
right,
That same Six of Cups,
right,
childhood memories, memories from the past, love coming from the past in this or a past lifetime.
right, right. Well, Marcia, this was delightful. Thank you so
Indeed.
much for joining me today. And I will definitely, because we know you are kind of old school, you don't have a website or anything, and people come to you via
No,
referral.
I used to have one, but I don't anymore.
Yeah. So I will share your phone number, and please, everyone, know that you have to mention that you had seen Marcia on an interview, Coffee with the Kingpins with
Yeah, because that when they text me, I get scam stuff all the time. Everybody does. I need to see, hi, my name is Joan. I saw you on Frioze's podcast.
Right.
So then I know, and then I answer them. I connect with them in a timely manner.
Yes. Well, thank you so much, Marcia. It was a pleasure. And everyone, if you do enjoy our content, please show us your love. Press that subscribe button, like, and comments go a long way. Thank you for joining me, Coffee with the Kingpins, and my website is firuze.com. Very easy, firoze.com. It was a pleasure, and please share if you have any other subjects, interest.
Oh, anytime. You just tell me, I'll just keep talking. Let's go have
Thank
dinner.
you. Okay.
All right, babe. Bye bye.
Bye.